Every wrong decision has a cost. Sometimes, the price isn't paid immediately. It's paid in the opportunities that quietly disappear, long before NBA arenas, long before television cameras, long before addiction became part of his story. There was simply a little boy with a basketball. Basketball wasn't just a game. It was the language of Chris Herren's home and the heartbeat of his town. His father loved the game. His brothers played it. Before Chris was old enough to understand the expectations that would one day follow him, he had already fallen in love with the sound of a bouncing basketball. Some children find a passion. Others seem to be born into it. Chris was one of them. As the years passed, the little boy on neighborhood courts became the young player everyone wanted to watch. His vision, his instincts, his calm under pressure. He didn't simply play the game well. He seemed to understand it differently. Soon, the coaches noticed. Then the recruiters. Before long, scouts from across the country were making the trip to Fall River. The boy from a hardworking mill town was becoming one of America's brightest basketball prospects. By the time he arrived at B.M.C. Durfee High School, packed gyms had become normal. Newspaper headlines followed almost every performance. Every game felt less like a high school basketball game and more like the opening chapter of a future everyone believed had already been written. A college scholarship, the NBA, a long and celebrated career. Everything appeared to be falling perfectly into place. But life has a way of reminding us that the greatest battles are not always the ones the world can see. While crowds celebrated Chris's remarkable talent, few realized that another story was quietly unfolding. One no one inside those packed gymnasiums could have imagined. Because the greatest tragedies rarely begin with disaster. They begin with decisions so small, they hardly seem worth remembering. The danger was invisible. The future, however, had never looked brighter. By his final years at B.M.C. Durfee High School, Chris Herren wasn't simply the pride of Fall River. He had become one of the most sought-after basketball players in America. His name appeared in national rankings. The country's top college programs wanted him. The NBA no longer felt like a dream, felt like a destination. Then came the opportunity that seemed to confirm everything people believed about his future. A scholarship to Boston College. For Chris, it wasn't just another step. It was the dream unfolding exactly as everyone had imagined. The road ahead seemed unmistakably clear. If you had asked anyone what the future held for Chris Herren, very few would have imagined that the greatest threat to his future would arrive quietly, without warning, disguised as an ordinary decision, conversation, party, a moment of curiosity, a single compromise. Chris would later speak honestly about one of those moments. He chose to use cocaine, not because he wanted to destroy his future, not because he believed addiction was waiting for him, but because, like countless young people before him, he believed he could control it. Perhaps that's the oldest lie temptation ever whispers. Just once. I know my limits. Nothing will happen. But some choices begin changing our lives. Long before they change our circumstances, before Chris had even settled into college basketball, everything unraveled. A routine drug test, positive result. In an instant, the headlines changed. The same newspapers that had celebrated his arrival were now questioning his future. The excitement surrounding one of America's brightest young players became disappointment, concern, uncertainty. His basketball journey had barely begun. Yet the first crack had already appeared. Many people look back and think the tragedy began with that failed drug test. It didn't. It began the moment Chris believed he could invite something into his life without someday answering to it. Because every wrong decision has a cost. The only question is, when will the bill arrive? Sometimes, life gives us another chance. Not because we deserve it, but because someone still believes in who we could become. After leaving Boston College, Chris Herren stood at a crossroads. One path led toward regret, the other toward another opportunity. And remarkably, another opportunity came. This time, it was Fresno State University, a new campus, a new coach, a chance to begin again. For many young athletes, a second chance like this would have felt like a miracle. For Chris, it was. Coach Jerry Tarkanian looked beyond the headlines, beyond the failed drug test, beyond the disappointment. He saw a young man whose future had not yet been decided. And once again, someone chose to believe in him. For a while, that belief seemed well-placed. The brilliance returned. The confidence returned. So did the attention. Every game reminded people why Chris Herren had once been considered one of the brightest basketball prospects in America. The NBA dream was alive again. From the outside, it looked as though the worst was behind him. But appearances can be painfully convincing, because while everyone watched Chris rebuild his career, almost no one saw the battle quietly rebuilding itself. Addiction rarely fights in public. It fights in private. On the court, Chris looked disciplined, focused, in control, away from the spotlight. The struggle continued. Every promise to quit faced another temptation. Every fresh start met another compromise. And with each compromise, something far more valuable than basketball began to disappear. Not his talent. His talent was undeniable. Not his ability. That remained extraordinary. Trust. The trust of coaches. The trust of teammates. The trust of those who had defended him when others had given up. Trust rarely disappears all at once. It leaves quietly, one broken promise at a time. Chris wasn't running out of talent. He was running out of people who still believed the next promise would be different from the last. And perhaps that's the quiet tragedy of repeated compromise. The consequences don't always arrive like a storm. Sometimes, they arrive like an empty chair, a phone call that never comes, a door that closes without a sound. By now, the question was no longer, can Chris Herren make it to the NBA? The question had become, if he does, will he be able to keep what he spent his whole life chasing? Because success can open a door, but only character can keep it open. In 1999, Chris Herren heard the words he had dreamed about since he was a little boy. His name had been called in the NBA draft. For the boy from Fall River, the impossible had become reality. Imagine standing in an NBA arena for the very first time, pulling on the jersey, looking around at the lights, the court, the crowd. The dream was no longer ahead of him. He was living it. For many athletes, this is where the story reaches its happy ending. Dream achieved, mission accomplished. But life has a way of exposing what success can never heal. From the outside, Chris finally looked like the man everyone believed he would become. An NBA player, professional athlete, living the dream. But appearances tell only part of the story. Because one opponent had followed him every step of the journey. The battle within, the arena had changed. The struggle had not. The applause grew louder. The loneliness grew deeper. Each game was played beneath bright lights. Each struggle unfolded in the shadows. That is addiction's quiet deception. It allows someone to appear successful while slowly falling apart. And perhaps that's why so many battles remain invisible. The dream he had spent his childhood chasing could no longer rescue him from the consequences that had been building for years. Talent had opened the door, but talent alone could not keep him there. Because every opportunity in life eventually asks the same question. Who are you when no one is watching? And sooner or later, every one of us answers. There comes a moment in some lives when the greatest battle is no longer against the world. It's against the person staring back from the mirror. For Chris Herren, that moment had finally arrived. Years earlier, basketball had been the center of his life. Now, everything revolved around addiction. The very thing he once believed he controlled had quietly taken control of him. The dreams that once seemed limitless had grown painfully small, because talent alone cannot carry the weight of unaddressed choices forever. Sooner or later, every decision asks to be accounted for, and life remembers, even when we wish it wouldn't. With every compromise, he moved a little farther away from the life he could have lived. He had watched it slip through his own hands. And then, something changed. He chose to face the truth. He needed help. That admission may not sound extraordinary, but it was one of the bravest decisions of his life. Because pride had kept him trapped. Humility became the first step toward freedom. Recovery didn't begin the day Chris became strong. It began the day he stopped pretending he was. Perhaps it was the first honest page of a new one. For Chris Herren, recovery wasn't one extraordinary victory. It was thousands of quiet ones. Choosing honesty over hiding, humility over pride, hope over despair, day after day, choice after choice. The same principle that had slowly pulled his life apart would now patiently put it back together. And perhaps that's one of life's quietest miracles. The small decisions that gradually destroy a future are the very same kind of decisions that can rebuild one. One day at a time, one choice at a time, one step at a time. As the years passed, something unexpected happened. People no longer gathered because Chris Herren could play basketball. They gathered because Chris Herren could tell the truth. Schools, communities, recovery centers, parents, teenagers, young athletes standing where he had once stood. They came to hear a man who no longer needed to impress anyone, only to help someone. Chris could never reclaim the years addiction had taken from him. He could never replay the games that might have been. He could never recover every opportunity that had quietly disappeared. But he discovered something greater. Your past may explain you. It does not have to imprison you. The dream he lost, made room for a purpose he never imagined. Once, people applauded him for the points he scored. Now, they thanked him for the lives he helped change. In the end, basketball gave Chris Herren a platform. Redemption gave him a legacy. Every wrong decision has a cost. Sometimes, the price isn't paid immediately. It's paid in the opportunities that quietly disappear. Chris Herren knows that better than most. His story reminds us that talent cannot protect a future, that success cannot heal a heart, and that tomorrow is shaped by the decisions we make today. But his story reminds us of something equally powerful. As long as there is breath, there is still a choice, still a path forward, still a reason to hope. The years behind us may be beyond our reach, but the years ahead are still listening to the decisions we make today. So perhaps the real question was never, can a man recover from addiction? Perhaps the question has always been, what are you doing today with the life you've been given? Because sometimes the greatest victory isn't becoming the person the world expected you to be. It's becoming the person your hardest seasons prepared you to become. Success can open a door. Only character can keep it open. And redemption can lead you through another one. This is the power of pain, where broken stories become unbreakable strength. Thank you for watching.